Hi, I'm George Pearson, and these are just a few examples from some of the training videos I have here on YouTube. Now, when you're working with the training, following along the training, if you want to get the materials I used in the training, just go to the description down below and click on the link that's at the top of the description, and this will take you to a page where you can download the materials. Please subscribe, click the like button, and of course always share on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the video. In this Photoshop Elements project, we're going to make this Christmas card here with a cat on it. Now, I've designed this so you can use any picture of any cat you want. It works best if you find a picture of a cat staring at the camera like this. Of course, this is real easy to do. For whatever reason, all cats know how to do that particular pose. I'm sure if you have cats, you've got this shot with your cats already. So we have a cat. I'll be using my cat back here. This happens to be my cat Robin. I'll be using him. And then I have a bit of clip art up here for the Santa hat. And I have a link for that, of course, in the materials. And then everything else here is made inside of Photoshop Elements. This is all using shapes. In the background is a background, and this is a hand-drawn Christmas tree, and of course the text on top. So pretty straightforward. It's just a step-by-step process to get to this point. Okay, I'm just going to get this out of the way. Here is the original cat, and to do this we need to have a card, a basic card size. Now, a standard card size for greeting cards, whether they're Christmas cards or Halloween cards or Thanksgiving cards, whatever they happen to be, birthday cards, a standard size for that is 5x7. And you can get envelopes that will fit the 5x7 size. It's an A7 envelope in case you're curious about that. So let's start off with a new file. File new. We'll do a blank file. Here we go. And I want to put this, let's just go to default Photoshop sizes. It's a good starting point. And I'm going to call this one Christmas Cat. Just give it a name up there. There we go. And we want the height at 7 and the width at 5. So there's our width. There's our height at 7. And you want this to be at a resolution of 300 pixels per inch for printing. It's not that large a file size, as you can see over here, so that's not too bad. Choose OK. There is our basic file. Now we need to bring our cat and get the cat basically in here. So I'll start off with just a real rough selection around here. I want to leave a lot of background out there, as you can see. We'll be using the Refine Edge tool to clean this up, so we need to have a lot of background to work with. So there's my basic selection. Let's just do an edit, copy, like that. Go back over to our new file here and edit, paste. There we go. There's our cat. Okay, I can now get rid of this file. That's no longer needed. Now the cat's a little large, as you can see here. So I'm going to bring the size down a bit. Somewhere around, you'll see he's just about half the height of the page. It's about half height. You can adjust that size as you like to get a nice view, but I'm doing it about half as tall as the page. And then just bring him a little bit up onto the page. Okay, there we go. So there is our basic cat. The next step is to clean up this selection. We're going to be making a mat around the cat, and let's just zoom in here. I'll be doing this fairly fast on this. I'm not going to put a whole lot of time into this. For your own Christmas card, take more time and be more accurate with this cat. I'm not going to spend that much time on this for this demonstration, so we don't waste all of our time doing the selection. But take your time and make the selection as carefully as you can for the best effect. Alright, now we'll start off. Here we already have our basic selection, and I'm going to come in here and make another selection. Our selection tool, I'm going to come just inside of my previous selection. A little squirrely there with my mouse. On the outside you can go out like that, but just inside, because I need to have a bit of space in there. I need to have a fresh selection that has content on both sides of it like that, or we can't use the Refine Edge tool. I also want to have a lot of space in here between the cat and the background, again, for that refine edge tool to work properly. Okay, so come up here to select, and then we'll come down to refine edge. Brings up the refine edge tool. We're in the pink background overlay mode. It's one that I want to use. You can see our selection is right there. Now notice right there, that's the size of the brush that we have. We can change the size of the brush. That's right down here in your options panel. I'll bring that brush up a bit. I think that's pretty good, that size. On my image, it's 70 pixels. We can ignore everything else right now. We're just going to go right to this tool. So I'm going to come in here and then just paint right down along that edge. And you'll see how Photoshop comes in and then tries to do a better job at finding that edge. It reanalyzes that edge. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and we'll clean that up. This will just give us our basic matte. Once the basic matte's in place, we can then clean that matte up and improve the matte. Now, it's not going to do a very good job up here because the dark head is up against a dark background. Makes it very hard for Photoshop to know what's going on. So that's not going to be perfect, and it will take a bit more work up there. What I care mostly about is going to be in here on the back of the fur. This is where this tool is really going to be a big help to us. And that was a little bit too much on that. Let me just... No, that's okay. We'll come back. We'll fix that. Again, depending upon what kind of content you have, the tool will be able to do a good or a bad job. This is actually a very difficult image for this tool to use, but it happens to be what I've got. So that's what I'm going to be using. And I'll go back around the edge a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. But you can come back and you can try it again. Once you've done a bit of it, Photoshop has a bit better idea of what you're trying to do. And you can then come in and maybe improve the matte after you've already gone around it once. So don't be afraid to come back in. There you go. See, that's beginning to really catch some of this stuff now. Real nicely in there. Okay, looks pretty good. It's got some bad spots on it, but we can improve that. Now, if you want to, you can try to increase the contrast in here. Sometimes this helps to improve the edge. Take a look at the fur right back there on the tail. If I increase the contrast, see how the tail kind of comes out a bit? So the contrast is actually improving this for me. Okay, so that gets us the first part of our selection. Now I want to have this output here. There's the contrast. I want to output this to a new layer with layer mask. Let's choose that and choose OK. There we go. There's our new layer with a layer mask. I have the background set to white, as you can see, and that's so I can really see what's going on in here. We can now see where the problems are. We're looking good down in here. A few problems up in there. A few problems around up in here. Looking pretty good down here, pretty good around there. So most of it is okay. And it hides the original layer. Now the reason why I did new layer with layer mask is that gives me that previous layer as a backup. Okay, now in the layer mask, notice where the cat is showing. It's in white. Where the cat's not showing, it's in black. And that tells you how to work with the layer mask. If you paint over here, click on the layer mask side. Notice that we have that cyan around there now. Okay, click on that side. Get that cyan around there, that little outline. Then you can paint black to hide more of the picture and paint white to show more. So, now that we know that, let's go over here to our paintbrush. And I'm just going to dock up there. There we go. Here's our paintbrush. There's a paintbrush size. It's set on white right now, which is show. So I'm going to come in here, and I know there's a little bit of problem on the ear in there. I'm just going to come right around the edge here to make sure that we're solid. So right down there it was a little bit off. Anywhere it shows a little bit of pink in there, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, that looks pretty good. It didn't take much there. Let's now switch our colors to black, and I'm going to switch this over here to a soft brush. There's a soft at 27, a little too small, so I'll bring that size up. That's pretty good. And I'll now come in here and just kind of carefully paint in. We'll come back, we'll fix that ear in just a second. And I'll paint in, and I'm painting black right now on the layer mask, so it's hiding more of the image. And we'll fix that also in just a minute. And just a little bit of a cleanup pass in here. Use this to clean out as much as possible. Just kind of tap in there with that soft brush. That looks okay. Alright, that was a bit too much there. Let me just undo that. I want to get that clean, but it's a real small spot, so I'll bring my brush size down and just kind of come in there a little bit. That's pretty good. There's a little bit of table showing right there. I want to get rid of that. Want to get rid of that. And then let's just clean up this edge here. And that little bit right in there. And we're just about done. As I said, take more time on this step with your actual picture. Do it as cleanly as you can. I'm going to do it relatively fast here just for this video. Okay, let's fix these ears. So I'll change our color back to white again. So we're on white. And white shows. We're still on our soft edge brush. That's okay. And then just carefully come in and bring back that edge of our cat. And just carefully work along the edge. Now if there's a little bit of a softness on here, that's okay. After all, we're not trying to be completely perfect here. Okay, I think we have our cat in pretty good shape. Everything looks kind of nice. That's okay. So there's the cat. Let's now back out a little bit. Cat looks good. Okay, I now want to do the background. So go back to our background here. We're going to change the background, and we're going to be using a background from Photoshop Elements. Go over here to Graphics. Now I checked this clear back to Photoshop Elements 10. This is Photoshop Elements 13 that I'm working with. I checked this back to 10, and the background I'm looking for was in all the way back to Photoshop Elements 10, so I know that it's around. Okay, let's see if we can find this. I'm going to scroll clear to the top of the backgrounds here. I think it was fairly high up. And then I'll scroll down. I can spot it when I see it. It's actually a background that's designed for Valentine's Day, but it works out very, very well here for this one. Anything that has a kind of a nice red, that'd be a nice one here as well. There we go. That's the one. Okay, Flourish Heart. Double click on that. That sets that as the background. There we go. And you can just leave it as is. Whatever size it comes in at is fine. So there's our background. Okay, we have our background. I'm going to have a little bit of a shadow underneath the cat. So let's see if we can take care of that. Go back to our layers again. Now just below the cat layer, let's put a new layer in right there. Let's switch our brush size or color here to black. Back to our brush. Soft edge brush. Bring it up, about 87 here. I'm just going to go right along the edge of the cat here and right in there and right in there. Just right along that edge. Gives me a little bit of a shadowing underneath the cat. Not a big deal, but it helps to place the cat onto the scene. Now notice when I did that, it's kind of a light line along that. Let me zoom in here on the tail. Because of the color of the table that the cat was sitting on, the table happened to be kind of a light brown. We're seeing a little bit of the light brown table through the cat's tail. I don't really want to have that, so let's go over here to our cat, click on the cat image side, and then go over here, this little tool. This is the burn tool right there. And I'm looking at burning the midtones. Let's bring our size down a little bit. I'll bring the exposure up a bit. I have it set at 35 and 32, about a third of the way through. And I'm just going to kind of stroke the edge here of the cat. What this does is it puts in more exposure and darkens down that area. I'm not going to go all the way, doesn't matter. Just enough just to kind of take off the edge of that bit of fur that was too bright. And that looks pretty good. That takes care of that. Let's just see if we have anything else. Yeah, right there. I'm just going to do it right along this edge here. That looks good. A little bit over in here, maybe just kind of take off that edge, just darken down the edge a little bit. And we'll see if there's anything else that I want to do here. I think we're okay. Maybe a little bit up in here just to add some detail. Alright, cat looks good. Let's bring that back out again. Zoom tool, Alt key to back out. There it is. Okay, the next thing we want to have is our Christmas tree in behind, a green Christmas tree. Now we're going to do that down here. I'm going to lock these layers. Let's lock that one, come down to our shadow layer. Let's lock that one. I actually want to link these together. I'm going to hold the Control key down, click both of those, and click on the link. Link those together so they stay put. Don't worry about that one. It's hidden. That's okay. That way I can work on the background without accidentally doing anything here with my cat. Let's now hide the cat and the shadow. Okay, now for the Christmas tree, we need a few guidelines in here. I'm going to bring this picture up. Let's just pull it down so it floats again. There we go. And I'll make it a bit larger so we can see this. That's better. I can't go much larger than that. It's going to go off the screen. There's that heart in the middle. It's hidden by the cat, so that's fine. Okay, take a guideline and go up here to View. And let's make sure that rulers are showing. There we go. That's fine. And then pull a guideline in. And it's going to snap right to the center point. There it is. The reason it snapped was because we have Snap to Guides is checked. Okay, there's my center guide. Now we have additional positions in here. I'm going to be dividing this up. Let's come down here to the center. There's our center here. I want to divide this in half approximately. It doesn't have to be exact, just about in half is all we need. The bottom one about, oh, wrong side there. About in half down here as well. And on these sides, I want these about in thirds. Again, just approximately in thirds. These don't have to be exact by any means. Just kind of visualize it and get it about thirds. These aren't anywhere near exact. I could do much better if I really want to be picky about this, but it doesn't matter for this. It can be a little rough. Okay, this gives us some guidelines to create a tree shape in here. And we're going to start by doing lines down to here, then halfway over, then down to here, and then in a bit, and then down and up around again. So going over here to our lasso tool, let's change this to the polygonal lasso tool right there. That gets you straight lines. So click in here at the top, pull that down to this guy. It's just going to snap to that point. Click there, go about halfway in, and click, come out to this one, click, and come in a lot further, about halfway here, come down just about halfway. So I'm just using these guidelines just as a visual reference. And click, come all the way out here to this corner, click, back up here about, there we go, get the right one, about halfway, and click, back outside, click, and then up here and click. That gives you a basic Christmas tree shape. So I just use these as guidelines to create that shape. If you want to go fancier than that, you can go larger if you want to and give it more layers. It's really up to you on how much you want to do on this. If you want to do 3 layers, that's fine. Let me just show you how to do the 3-layer one. Let's just deselect that, but that's the idea. Now for a 3-layer, I want to have 2 layers down here. So I'm going to take this guideline, move it up a little bit. Let's take this one up a bit, that one up a bit. I'm dividing this into kind of 5 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, I'm just visualizing this, just a rough visualization. Make them about even. So the more of these you have, the more spots you have to create your Christmas tree section. So let's go back up here again, and same thing, click up here, come down to the first one, come in halfway, down to the next one, no, come halfway, get the same angle there, and in halfway, down to this, and in halfway, down half, over half, up half, out to this corner, into there, and then back out, halfway, right here, up to the halfway point, out to the corner, and up to the top. So again, just a few more guidelines, following the guides, kind of going full and half steps, and that gives me that shape. So you can, again, do however many of these steps you want to have. That's how many lines you need, just for your reference. Now that we have that, and that's on our background layer, let's now make a new layer based upon this. So we'll go up here to Layer, New, Via Copy. It's just sitting on top. Now all we need to do is to change the color of that. So I'll come up to Enhance here, Adjust Color, Hue Saturation. There we go. Let's just pull the hue in. There we go. Right in here somewhere. That looks pretty good. Kind of a nice green, a little more saturation. You can adjust the lightness if you want to. I think it's a little bit darker, or helps. We want it kind of as a background, just shape. There we go. So there's our Christmas tree on top. There's the original layer. There's our Christmas tree. Bring our cat back on top, and you'll see the cat is now just kind of sitting in front of that Christmas tree. It gives it a little bit of a background shape in there. Okay, we are done with those guides. I'm just going to hide the guides. I'll uncheck that and hide the guides. I'll leave them in the file. If you want to download this file, you can and see where those guides are. Alright, so far so good. The next thing we want to do now is to bring in that Santa hat and put that Santa hat on top of this cat's head. So File, Recent Files. Let me see if I can find where I had that Santa hat in here. There we go, and that's the one. Now again, you can get this, it's in the materials section. So just look for the materials, you can get this hat. I'm just going to drag this layer onto my file. There we go, and hide that. So there's the hat. Now hat's in the wrong place. I want to have this in front of my cat. So just pull this layer up and resize the layer until the hat looks good. It'll depend upon your cat and what kind of mood you're in. But resize it and adjust until it looks good to your eye. Looks like something right about there. Now, the hat is real cartoony at this point. I want to make it look a little bit better, so we're going to be putting a bevel and emboss on this to make it look a little more three-dimensional. So let's go up to Layer and Layer Style. Make sure I'm on the right layer. There we go. Let's just make the Santa hat so we can see that. Okay, Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, and I want a bevel in here. There's our bevel and emboss, and I'll bring that up a bit. I don't want to go too far because it looks kind of fake, but just a little bit. Notice right here on that kind of the white band there, I'm going to make this about halfway up, a little less than halfway up that band, and choose OK. Gives it a little more of a three-dimensional look. It's still a flat two-dimensional cartoon hat, but a little more three-dimensional, which is fine for this picture. It's supposed to be kind of a funny picture anyway, so being a little bit fake looking actually helps the image. Okay, so far so good. Now, let's improve the eyes here on the cat. They're a little bit washed out. My flash kind of made them look a little funny, so I want to make the eyes stronger, and I'm going to recolor the eyes green to make them match the tree that's kind of in behind there. So we'll do that next. So we'll go back up to our cat. Let's zoom in on the cat. There we go, that's pretty good. And I'll choose my lasso tool here, so lasso tool right down there. And I'll come in here and just make a little selection around the eye. It can be out just a little bit of ways. We'll make an adjustment on that. So my first eye, let's just get this over here. Make sure you're on Add right there. I can then come in and do the other eye like that. So you have both eyes selected. Now go up to your layer. Make sure that you're on the image side. Now you need to unlock that. Make sure on the image side, double click. Make sure that that cyan outline is around the image and not the matte. Make a new layer and come back down here. So we're all set to go. Okay. Edit, copy. Let's go up here and edit, paste. And that gives me the eyes on this new layer. We now can take these eyes and multiply them onto these eyes. Go up here to the blending mode, and you'll see we have different blending modes up here. Here's multiply. Looks pretty good. Color burn is a bit too much. Linear burn, not too bad. Darker color. I think multiply will work out well. Now there's too much of the matte, as you can see in there, so we're going to come back in and then erase back into this image. So grab the eraser tool and let's adjust our brush size. Soft edge, that's pretty good. And I'm just going to erase back into the eye here just a little bit, just to erase out that edge from that selection. River looks a little bit fake. Okay, that's good. We have our eyes. Now, let's adjust the color in here. I want to make these green, and I want to go with kind of a green that matches our tree back there. So, enhance and adjust color, hue saturation. I'll pull that over. And somewhere in there is pretty good. That looks like it's about that same green. A little more saturation, make it even greener. Yeah, a little bit. I think I'll leave them at the same light. Maybe it's a little lighter. Okay, let's rename this layer eyes so we don't forget that, and get my typing right. There we go. Okay, so there's the eyes. Now let's back out and see how we're doing. Looks pretty good. The eyes are better. Cat looks good. The hat looks good. I think maybe we can adjust that tree a little bit now. So I'm going to just make it a bit wider here. Just pull the sides over a bit. There we go. And just get some nice trees showing. Okay, so far so good. I think I'll just tap the tree over just a little bit so it's more centered. Okay, everything is looking good so far. Now let's do the tricky part. I'm going to back up just one notch here. There we go, so you can see this. We'll do the snowflakes next. Now, snowflakes need to be in front of the tree, but behind everything else. Let's go through. I'm going to lock everything. Let's click on this layer and lock. Click on the eyes and lock. Click on the cat layer and lock. Shadow's already locked. Click on the tree and lock, and the background and is already locked. Okay, that's just so I don't accidentally get anything messed up in here. Now we want to change our color over here to white, so click on the little double arrow and the color changes to white, and we're going to be drawing in some snowflakes. So go over here to where it says graphics and change the graphics over to shapes. Now, there's lots and lots of shapes, as you can see here, all kinds of fun stuff. I'm just going to scroll down, and there are some snowflakes in here. Just keep on scrolling down. And a bit further, I know they're here someplace. There they are. Okay, we have these 4 snowflakes. I'll use these top 3. Click on a snowflake, and it puts it onto the page. And it's right, you can see it, it's right there. There we go. Make this easier to see, I'm going to hide the cat. So go back to our layers, and let's just hide the cat and the shadow and the eyes and the hat. Get those out of the way. Okay, back to our graphics again. So I want to have one of these. I'll put them right there. Let's do one of these. Double click. I'll put them over here someplace. Let's do one of these, and I'll put him right down there. Okay, let's go back again, double click, and I'll come up here. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller, about like that, and double click, bring him down here someplace, and a bit smaller. The position doesn't need to be exact, just kind of space them out. And take this one, put him, if I get him to move, there we go. I'll put him way up here someplace. Again, about that same size. Let's do one more set, even smaller. Double click, make them real small, and I'll stick them over here someplace. Double click on the next one. Let's make him real small, and I'll bring him down here. Remember that the cat is in the middle, so don't put anything right in the middle here. It's just going to be covered by the cat. And one more. This guy, make him real small, and I'll stick him up there. Okay, we now have a bunch of snowflakes on the page, and they're all in their own layers. As you can see over here, each one of these shapes came in its own layer. We have 9 layers because we did 3 snowflakes 3 times. So click on the top shape, scroll down, hold the shift key, click on the bottom shapes. They're all selected. Right click and merge shapes. That puts everything onto one layer. You can now rename this Snowflakes. I'll give this one a name, Snowflakes 1. Make a copy of this, drag the layer up onto the new layer button. There we go, Snowflakes. Let's just rename this one Snowflakes 2. And I'm going to rotate this layer. So come up here to Image, Rotate Layer, 90 degrees left. There it is. And I'm just going to move it around so they're not really overlapping too much, kind of like that. Back to our original layer, drag it up like that, double click, rename this one Snowflakes 3, and I'll just drag it up above that layer so they're in sequence. Let's now rotate this one, Image, Rotate Layer, right, and I'll move that down here someplace. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, there's a whole bunch of snowflakes. Now, let's give them different values. Let's take this top one here, and I'll make this one 25%. So where's this opacity? Put that to 25%. Hit the Enter key. And I'll double click again on the name. And 25% so I know. Snowflakes 2. Let's set this one at 50%. Double click and just make a note of that. 50%. And the final one, Snowflakes 1, let's set this one at 75%. Hit the Enter key. Double click. And 50%. Okay, we have our snowflakes. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and bring our cat back in again. There we are, snowflakes and cat on our Christmassy page. We now just need to put our text on top. Now you can move these snowflakes around if you're not really happy with where they are. The brightest ones will be your 75%. And actually, I typed that wrong here. Let's just retype that. There we go. If you're not happy, you can just move them around, cursor keys, and reposition until they look good. I'm going to put that over there a little bit. If you don't like any of the snowflakes, you can simply go back in and you can erase that out. Now you'll need to rasterize or simplify that layer to erase it. I may want to erase this one snowflake right here. That's on this layer. Let's double check that that's it. So I'm going to right click on this and simplify the layer. There we go. And I'll take my eraser and let's bring the size up on the eraser a bit here. Too much. Pretty good. I'm just going to erase this one snowflake out. That's a bit too bright. I'll just take him off. Okay, let's now put in some type. Over to your type tool. Now the type I chose is one called Vivaldi Italic. I'm not sure where I got that. I think it comes with with Windows, I'm not sure, but you can find that online. It's just a real scrolly kind of typeface. And let's click in here and see what this looks like. That looks like it's really too small. So let's change this point size here. Let's try 24 point. Looking better. Let's try 48. That's too big. 30 may be enough. Okay, and I'll just type in Merry Christmas on that so you can see that. Now that we have it, I can just grab the sides here and then readjust the size of that. There we go. So that's looking pretty good. I now want to make it a little more visible, and we'll do that. Let me just actually pull this up here. I want to have this one at the very top of my stack. Go up here to Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, and we're going to be doing a stroke on this. So click on Stroke. Click on, I can bring it up a bit so you can kind of see it. See, there's the stroke right there. What I want is kind of a nice red color. So click on the color here. Upper right hand corner, that's bright red. Bring it down just a bit so it's not too much. You want it brighter than the background, but not too much brighter than the text itself. So somewhere in here. Clear to the right side will be full saturation. You know, kind of like the color of these things, or like the hat right in there. Somewhere around there. And that helps the Merry Christmas stand out. Okay, we're almost finished. Last little bit, I want to put a little snowflake right there on top of the star, or on top of the eye here for Christmas. Choose OK on this. Let's zoom in on that. There we go, that's good enough. Make sure our color is white. Back to our Move tool. Back to the graphics. I'll take this snowflake, double click. Comes down to the bottom there. There it is. Put that right on top. Grab the corner and let's bring that down. And let's put that right on that dot for the eye. Just a little final touch. Okay, I think we've got it. Let's back out a little bit and see what we have. There's the full card. Now, this card is set at 5x7, which is a standard size for a greeting card. If you wanted to make this an actual card, this would be the front of the card. The back will be over here. So to do that, let me just save this here quickly. I'll do File, Save. There we go. We need to change the size. Let's just get that out of the way. And we need to add more canvas over here on the left-hand side. So Image, Resize, Canvas Size. There's the width. This little anchor arrow. This is where the image is going to be going. So put that to the clear to the right-hand side. Make the width double. So I'll make this 10. Choose OK. Makes that twice as wide as you can see. If we back out a little bit now. Now some of this stuff in here, this is the background what's showing, so we can hide that. And I'll pull my guideline in, and it snaps right to the middle. So there's that one. This is the rest of our guides that are on there. You can ignore that. This one right here, this is the center point. It just snaps to that center point. I can now delete this stuff out here. So let's go back to our layers. Or I can just put in a white spot above that if you want to. Just make it real easy. So there's our snowflakes. I'll do it this way. Snowflakes. New layer above snowflakes. Let's grab the elliptical marquee and then change it to a rectangular. There's a rectangular marquee tool. And drag it down here. It will snap right to that center point. So we're above the snowflakes and the tree and the background. And let's just fill this with white. There we go. The reason I did that so I still have that background to play with if I want to in the future. And then deselect. Okay, so here's the card. Let's just hide those guides again. So this is the front of the card. This is the back of the card. If you want to write anything on the here, you know, designed by, you put that right down here. And then you fold this at this point. And on the inside of this side is where you put in your greeting. Inside of this side is behind the cover, so that wouldn't be done. The best way to see that is to go ahead and print this out. It's 5 by 10 or 7 by 10 right now, 7 high by 10 wide. This will fit on a regular sheet of paper. So you can print it out and you can see where this thing goes once you fold that in. So there it is. There is a Christmas card made from your cat or dog or whatever. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.